What's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. You see the ridiculous title, but it's a good title. If you see the thumbnail, that is in reference to San Francisco having modern day pirates, which we will go over. The video says the haterocracy. I mean, you guys already know I'm going to cut up, right? 50% of Americans are haters. San Francisco has pirates. That is the theme of today's show. And many are going to say, crime is a response of poverty and people just don't have it, Erica. No, 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 no. Too many studies prove that people literally could go be productive, could go pick up trash, could go work for companies, but they rather take it from you. They much rather take it from you. This is a real thing. They study this. I'm going to show a couple clips and it just cracked me up because I was like, I could have proved this just by you watching internet. Okay. But before we go there again, a quick nod off the Digital Liberty Tour is alive. We will be kicking off our first date in like 71 days in Plano, Texas, which is Dallas, Texas. You still have us talking about the 15-day challenge to change your life, affiliate marketing, freelance digital marketing. We also have, if you want to check out the latest info, hit that last link so that you can be a part of the email list. We have over 15,000 classy climbers who are on this email list. They get the latest discounts, updates, events, etc. We're gonna have some pop-up dates that are like last minute add-ins, you know what I mean? And that'll probably be like a DC, possibly, right? Not guaranteed, but maybe a Philly, maybe a New York, right? But we add them in because we like to get stuff, you know what I'm saying? So again, I hope you guys had a great turkey day. I hope you enjoyed time with your family. I'm still in the Carolinas. I had to make a show while it's quiet in the day because this is a very active locations where I'm at. But this is my lunch rant. I'm not even gonna lie to you. We're gonna rant a little bit on this lunch day. So let's get into it. Okay. Let me show you this first clip. And it doesn't surprise me, but it does. If you could drop your city and state in the chat, that'd be so highly appreciated. This is a real thing here, y'all. Here you go.
Professors did a study, and the study went something like this. They asked the research subjects a simple question. The question they proposed was, you're looking for work and you have two job offers. Okay? Job offer A is going to pay you $100,000 per year, but your coworkers will make $200,000 a year. Job offer B is going to pay you $50,000 a year in a company where your coworkers make $25,000 per year. The professors found that fully 50% of Americans choose job B. It's actually at the heart of a lot of what's wrong in America because these people don't want to do better themselves. They actively want someone else to be doing worse than them. It's not about them making more money. It's about, well, that person makes more. They're concerned about what other people are making and not what they're making themselves. Two professors did a study, and the study went something like this. They asked the research subjects a simple question. The question they proposed was, you're looking for work and you have two job offers. Okay? Job offer A is going to pay you $100,000 per year, but your coworkers will make $200,000 a year. Job offer B is going to pay you $50,000 a year in a company where your coworkers make $25,000 per year. The professors found that fully 50% of Americans choose job B. It's actually at the heart of a lot of what's wrong in America because these people don't want to do better themselves. They actively want someone else to be doing worse than them. It's not about them making more money. It's about, well, that person makes more. They're concerned about what other people are making and not what they're making themselves.
Okay. Y'all know. If people are like, oh, but who did they start? Listen. This is thank you, man. Tomorrow, this is when they be like, CEOs get paid this much money, and the average worker gets paid $11. Well, then you didn't ask what the worker was paying $11 an hour. What is he doing? Right? You didn't ask the CEO what he's doing. I have a friend, Credit Irene. She had it was on internet. She had a worker who was getting paid way more than what most people get paid in Cleveland, Ohio. Probably like 70, 75K, 80K a year. And she was like, I'm so mad because my boss is traveling and living her best life while I'm in the office doing tax returns. That's what you was hired to do. And you're making double the annual income of most people in Cleveland, Ohio. And you're on the internet complaining. This is why when people say, Erica, most people can't make 100,000. Most men can't make 100,000. Listen, Man of Tomorrow knows you go into this YouTube space, right? Which is a subconscious thinking, right? It's not these people usually. Let's be really honest. These people are so unproductive. You wouldn't run into them in your everyday life. They at their grandma house. They at low income places. You ain't gonna run into them. Let's just go there for a second. But because they're on the internet, they get a loud microphone. Oh, look at these trash baby mamas, these women with all these kids. We already know, society has already told us there's only like 2 million black babies born a year. So the number of women is just so huge. It's like, what are you talking about? That's less than 10% of women are having a baby. But if you start breaking down the numbers to them, well, all the women I know at 30 got 7 kids. Where do you live? So you start asking them these, questions to understand where they live, what's going on with them. And they always live in the middle of a nowhere place, paying $300 a month, busy worried about what this woman over here that won't sleep with them is doing. Then if you ask them, hey brother, what's going on with your life? I'm a forklift operator. I'm certified. Baby, I can get certified as a forklift operator at Lowe's in 15 minutes. That's more skills. More skills. More skills. Get out of here. Stay focused on yourself. Okay. And we'll take it another level. There'll be women saying, where are all the men with all the money? Ma'am, you work at Wendy's. Hush. These people aren't in real life. These people aren't elevating themselves to even be in the same spaces. They're not even elevating themselves because they're so worried about what somebody doing below them. I asked a grown adult. He was in his 40s. He was about to be in his 50s, honestly. And I said, "Oh, do you want to, go to management, right? At this particular company he was at." And he was like, "Well, I'm doing pretty good. I got 2 cars. My rent is only 650 at this, 1980s duplex, right?" And he's like, "Well, I'm doing better than my sister and my brother." And something, that petty Erica and me said, "Well, what's your brother and sister doing?" Kind of find out one of the siblings in and out of jail, other one got a bunch of kids. And so you're like, wait a minute, sir, you going into your 50s, comparing yourself to your siblings, not other productive grown men in their going into their 50s, but your siblings that are unproductive. Wow. And this is how I know this study to be true. I don't care if they interviewed 50,000 Americans. I already know these people did this. I already know. I've seen where here in North Carolina, if you come out of prison, they had a program where they were hiring felons. You would make $9 an hour on these farms. Cool. Great. You coming out of jail. Great. $9 an hour isn't a lot, but you got a guaranteed job. We're going to get your foot in the door. When they found out the immigrants and the migrants, the Hispanics that travel from place to place were also making $9 an hour, they overwhelmingly quit. Once they found out they were on equal level, they quit. Now these guys are coming out of prison. You already know how hard it is to get a job. Think about that. They're comparing themselves to the migrant worker who is directly beside them, picking lettuce, picking products, picking produce, and it's like, that's not enough money. I should be making more than them. Based off what? I don't know if they discontinued the program, but they did it for 5 years, and every year they realized once the men folk thought that was coming out of prison that they made the same money as the migrants, they didn't want to work no more. They didn't want to work no more. Y'all, this is this is an epidemic of people. They will compare themselves to the worst population, right? When you start asking people real life questions, hey man, you in your 40s, you ain't found no good looking chicks. Nah, man, they all bad. They all sir, listen, stop. Cut it out. And I thought this was just relationships, but when I started the Breaking Into Tech Facebook group, and we've got 34,000 people. Whoop, whoop, we got 34,000 people. But I'm also in some other Facebook groups, because I'm debating on some other ones to create. If you're my digital real estate class, we talked about this. Y'all know my game plan. People are in there like, hey, somebody just tell me the answer. Hey, I'm coming. I've been working in food service 10 years. I want to make 100K coming out of tech in 6 months. How much do you make right now? 37,000. Baby, how you skipping? How you going all the way in like 60 days or less? What are you talking about? But it's the thought of there are black people out here on this internet making money. How dare y'all? There are black people making money in tech. How dare y'all? Y'all should give this for free. Somebody said the other day in the comments, and y'all know I just go in there and do, I try to produce and not read as much because I already know some of the silliness. And someone was like, this channel's become nothing but an infomercial. Oh my gosh. Because I literally promote a tour that I'm going. How will you know what city I'm going to if I don't tell you what city I'm going to? How will you know products and services that could help change your life if I don't inform you of them? Every YouTuber struggles with this because they'll throw one ad on in a 45-minute video. People are like, God darn it, the ads. It ruined my whole experience. When every YouTuber out here knows the average watch time is 10 to 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, you're going to look, already know I'm gonna have some of y'all drop off in 15 minutes because you're sneaking at work, and that's okay. But that's the average watch time. These people, like, I literally force myself to watch hour-long financial conversations with financial analysts for the last 3 hours. And it was hard because it is hard to do, to stay focused. You have to pause sometime, write notes. I wrote this really beautiful show for y'all today on a Monday. I was going to call it a educational Monday, which I'm still going to give some of these points. But at the end of the day, I've got bombarded with people saying, hey man, look at this, or compared to that. You're comparing yourself to people y'all not even in the same spheres. You're talking to me about homeless people. Somebody the other day did a whole stream talking about homeless people panhandling and having the what do you call it? The QR code for Cash App. Man, if they could do all that, they could do. Why are you focused on that? Worry about your neighborhood trash. Why is your front yard not cut? Why are your kids not going to great schools? This is the real conversations. Because really, you just want to be a hater. You don't want to be a producer. You don't want to create anything. You're a hater. Okay? As another creator used to call them demo people. I ain't stealing his phrase, but those are what those people are. They're destructive. They can't create anything. I was watching 4 or 5 of these financial advisors, and they're experts in their field. They've worked on Wall Street. They own research companies, which if you ever get into big boy level financial stuff, it's basically you'll have a research company where you pay people on staff, very educated people, to research things so you can give pitches like I give y'all and talk like this, but go talk on stages, talk to financial companies, and talk to like CNBC News and Fox News, and you make a couple $1,000,000 a year. It's high level. It's when you really get up there in the financial circles. It's like, oh yeah, I have a research company. We research the financials of people. We do surveys. Honey, it's something I've dreamed about. If I lived in Dallas, that's what I'd be. I have a research company. We research and call people all day. And honey, I'd be bougie, bougie, bougie. Okay. Now listen, several of these people that are in these streams of class that you'll never be in, and it's no disrespect to y'all. This woman, of course, is like, oh, she's talking about her kids being at a private military boarding school in Indiana. Now, listen, she's in Dallas, living in Dallas, companies in Dallas, well to do in Dallas, research company, on TV all the time with Fox Business News, CNBC, all these people. Her kids are in a military. The boys in the military school, the girls' school is like, learn how to be a very feminine lady, wear your skirt, do your curtsy, eat properly, all that good stuff, which is beautiful. Okay. In Indiana. And then I started watching some of the other people she was interviewing, and they were like, oh, yeah, our kids are at a private school across the way from yours. Ha, ha, ha. And this woman is in DC. And so I watched a couple other videos from this guy, and he was saying, well, the reason they put their kids there, they learn patriotism, they learn this, they learn that. Really, what they're saying, I cannot let my kids spend 8 to 10 hours a day around your children, because 90% of the time, your children are going to be haters. They're going to be destructive. They're going to influence my child to do wrong things. So I'm going to go put them in an environment where they will have structure, where they will have hours, where they will be fed well, where my money is going, and where they will watch this child and craft their last 2 years of high school. Because no one sends them at like 9th and 10th grade. They send them at 11th and 12th, where let's just go there. that 17, 18-year-old range. You keep having kids pop up and teenage pregnancies. Oh, pop up, I'm not going to school. Why? It's the environment they're in. If I send my kid to the boarding school, everybody in there is expected to be excellent. They're expected to put on these military uniforms. They're expected to go to Harvard. They're expected to go to Ivy League. They're expected to have a plan. The lady was like, "Oh, my daughter's on her third year of Mandarin." What? What? Okay. I'm a big proponent that people need to be learning Spanish because this is how they're going to get a lot of y'all out of these jobs. They're going to go, "Oh, you're not bilingual. Oh, I'm so sorry. We have no position for you." Right? And you could ask Diamond Dave. He's talked about this in Florida and other places. This is a way they're going to come into a marketplace and be like, "Oh, you're not bilingual. Oh, it's a darn shame. We just don't have any positions." And so if you're let's go there. If you're an American who are living in a lower income area, if you can't get no other skills, you better learn how to speak some Spanish, because you can always go to a call center. You can always go to some of these jobs. You can always have that little extra foot in the door because you truly, at your level, are competing with those people. When these people are having these research companies and they're creating these foundations, you don't even need to worry yourself about them. But you definitely don't need to be worried about the homeless chicks. You don't need to really be worried about van life folks, because I already told y'all what they're gonna do. That's why I'm bringing the Acre Boys on the tour. Their stop is Atlanta. We may get them on Las Vegas. We're gonna see if we can coordinate schedules because they are busy. They in New York. You got to understand what's happening. If you can pick up land, if you can pick up tax deeds, if you can pick up tax liens for cheap, pennies on the dollar, these van life people gonna need somewhere to park them vans and go to work. If gas is too high, right? These folks that want to do tiny houses and build little cabins in the middle of the woods. Hey, sir, you got a rural piece of land? I'll take it, sir. And they'll be paying you some rent off their YouTube money, off their internet money, off their podcast money, off their remote work from home job money. They will pay you. Okay? Why is that? Because again, we're looking down, right? We're looking down instead of looking up at the opportunity. Looking completely up, like, okay, boom, okay, I'm gonna do this. Right? You're going to have to do that. Okay? So some of the numbers I want y'all to understand is like, and this isn't a doom and gloom channel. This is a what are you going to do to productivity channel. That's why when you feel like, well, she's preaching and selling stuff to us, baby, I ain't never gonna come on here and not sell to y'all. Let's be very clear. You can go ahead and leave the channel. Okay. It ain't never gonna be a day I'm not gonna advocate for my company to have financial impact from doing this. I don't come on here for fun and giggles. If you want fun and giggles, go down the street to the guy who's been on YouTube for 10 years talking about women's, and he's in his 50s. Go listen to him. Go listen to that. Oh, YouTube's just a joke. Your white counterparts here on YouTube are making in millions, and y'all out here, everything's a joke. Good luck. Go do that over there. Not your girl. Okay. So again, we've had 171 months of expansion. That means the economy just going up. That's not normal, right? You usually have 120 months and then you have a recession. We had 171 months, right? So again, you do the math on that. Now, what's happening? We're paying people not to work. We had 3 years where people weren't being kicked out of properties, not just Detroit, even though it's notorious, but you had other cities joining in. You have LA just now finishing shaking off the eviction stuff. You had Atlanta finally shaking off the eviction stuff, and Atlanta had 75,000 evictions. They can't even process them all. They can't even process. So now they're just creating laws like, hey, we got a squatter law. If a squatter's in your house, calls, we'll get them out. Because they know, guess what? The timeline it would take us to get 75,000 people out of properties is too long. You go over there, you get mad, you call the police and say you got a squatter. Boom, 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 done. Everybody's out. Give it a couple months, it'll wash it out the system. You'll get them out of there and keep it moving. That's what they know. They know what they're doing. Georgia knows exactly what it's doing right now. Same thing in Texas. The only city in Texas that allows squatters is Houston. Dallas ain't playing that. Austin ain't playing that. Georgetown certainly ain't playing it. San Antonio came through in the middle of pandemic and was kicking people out in December 2020. Like, oh, y'all ain't paid? Baby, get on out. It's time. Get on out. It's too cheap. It was too cheap in parts of San Antonio. You paying $800 rent? You got brand new cars? San Antonio won't trying to hear that, right? But people were doing what? They were, well, my neighbors ain't paying, so I'm not gonna pay. My friends ain't paying, so I'm not gonna pay. We're gonna live well. We're gonna whatever, all that stuff, right? Student loan payments stopped 3 years now. You just had the FHA folks have their update, right? Hold on a second, y'all. I'm on my show. What's up? On Cash App? Okay, bye. I'm doing it right now. These children think your name is money bags or something. Good gracious. Let me see here. Excuse me, y'all. The children come first. Okay. Um, and so a lot of y'all, what you don't understand is the FHA payments, they haven't had to make a payment since November 20th. Think about that. November 2020. Now, most people, listen, most people, if they smart, was like, nah, I'm gonna make these payments. Y'all not gonna get me like that. Y'all not gonna get me put out in the streets over a low mortgage and cheap pay. Nah, y'all not gonna do me that way. That's not gonna how it's gonna roll. Okay. And so what's happened is we've had 3 years of people kicking, laughing it up, goofing off, having a good old time, having a grand old time. Hold on a second, y'all. You know what I'm saying? These kids is just like, if I want in town, they won't call me for nothing. Oh, Eric, I called you, but you didn't answer. Hold on a second. We're gonna transfer the baby some monies because they asked. But this is a lot of what I want y'all to understand is happening. I apologize, y'all. This is rude. It really is, but it's for the babies. Let me go. Children come first. Okay. Do 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 do. Okay. I feel like an old person trying to send something like, how do I type this button? All right. Okay. And so I'm getting to the reason that 50% of Americans hate it. We already showed the clip. I know more people came in. We may show the clip again because it's just that important. But again, all right. So then again, people, what that little test drive, the government giving us that 1,700 for the week, and most people got up to 16 grand in a year. Like, there are people who's never made more than 1,700 in a month. So they made it in a week because the check came in the mail to them or deposited to them. And what you have is Americans, instead of saying, man, I love that. How can I get more of that? Oh, well, if you go to community college and you get this skill over here, you become a plumber, or you become a welder, or you get this quick community college trade in 6 months. If you do HVAC repair, or you do foam installation, if you do, like, we could just keep listing the things they could do to make 50 to 75K a year. But instead they're like, oh, I want to start a credit repair business. I want to start this business. You're like, baby, you don't even have a pot to piss in. What are you doing? Right? But what they saw is they went online and saw other people further aligned in life than them and said, well, I want to do what you're doing. I want to come on YouTube and do what you're doing. Baby, you're 21. You ain't lived nowhere. You ain't done nothing. You ain't started no companies. You ain't failed. You ain't made $1 million and lost $1 million and making it back again. You ain't never did these things. So no, people aren't going to listen to you at the same numbers that they may listen to me and other people. And my numbers aren't even crazy, but I've been very successful, right? So again, that's what they were test driving, that UBI. How do people react? People run around spending money in the economy. Okay. Now you had 300 billion. Let's be very clear. $300 billion that has been in combination with the ERC, which is the employee retention credits, and a few other kind of EIDL loan. There was a combination of that. That was just the employee part, right? Just keeping your employees, 300 billion. So this is why you see, let's go there, these wealthier counterparts and business owners who were able to travel, able to live well. Listen, they gave me 150 for a couple of the companies and gave me 100 for a few of the other companies. And they gave it again. So look, the government was paying you to keep these employees on. And I was like, I'm trying to close this business. I don't need these employees. Hey, don't worry about it. Here's some more money. You're like, no. Stop, government. Please don't. And so you've had this $300 billion injection, and now it's kind of getting over. Next year is going to be a stagflation year. And I'm trying to get y'all to understand, instead of sitting back on your sidelines, letting somebody be a hater, Oh, well, they should give this for free. They should give all this knowledge for free. You've had 3 years to increase your knowledge base. You've had 3 years to go get some certification. You've had 3 years to figure out some stock market training from whoever, Diamond Dave, Todd, Millie, who pick somebody. Terry, anybody, pick somebody. You've had time. It's going to be a 2024 going to be like, it's going to be a little stagnant. You're going to be like, why is it a little stagnant? Now, people who are producing, people who are creating, people who are hiring people for jobs, people going to get real nice at work. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm going to send y'all for some training. Okay, ma'am. Why? Because they're going to wake up and look around and be like, well, doing better than my neighbor. I better stay at this job. So if you're a company owner next 2024, 2025, 2026, baby, it's going to be Gucci Manucci. You're going to be having tons of people lined up to do work. Tons of people lined up to go do stuff because the way is, y'all not ready, but okay. You don't have to take my word for it. Go look up a thing called dailyjobcuts.com. Now, again, this ain't for me. Again, I want you to understand the craziness of him surveying people, and they said they'll take the 50K job over the 100K job. Right now in our country, we have 6 companies a day closing, 6 to 9. What are they doing? They're doing the math. Will our company ever be this robust again? Will our company ever be super great again? Will our company ever be 2020 great again? And they like, it ain't happening, so I'm gonna close. Like, I'm not gonna throw good money after bad, because that's literally what a lot of the PPP was you're giving companies 100,000, 300,000 to keep staff on when you know things have changed. Nah. No. Okay. And a lot of that, you're gonna see. I'm just gonna keep it moving. Now, let me get to this. And this is another again, we got new people here, so I'm gonna play it one more time, but I'm also gonna go over to the car alarms. Anybody here in Atlanta? Anybody here in Atlanta? If you're in the comments and you live in Atlanta, put put Atlanta in the comments, because the next one is about you guys in Atlanta, because engineers in Atlanta created this security system because of Atlanta. But I'm gonna play this clip real quick one more time, and then I'm gonna go to show you this new car alarm they made in Atlanta. And people will be like, well, why is that? Again, people are haters. They rather break in your car, even though there ain't much in there to steal, because they just have to do it.
And you have 2 job offers. Okay. Job offer A is going to pay you $100,000 per year, but your coworkers will make $200,000 a year. Job offer B is going to pay you $50,000 a year in a company where your coworkers make $25,000 per year. The professors found that fully 50% of Americans choose job B. It's actually at the heart of a lot of what's wrong in America, because these people don't want to do better themselves. They actively want someone else to be doing worse than them. It's not about them making more money. It's about, well, that person makes more. They're concerned about what other people are making and not what they're making themselves. 2 professors did a study.
All right, okay, that's the last time I show it. I'm gonna go on to the next one. Here is the Keep Technologies. I don't know if y'all have been seeing this. If you're in Atlanta and you haven't seen this, I hope you see this, right? Because the engineers in Atlanta created this, because they were the ones who were like, oh, thank you, LB. I'm sorry, I didn't even see that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so we got Atlanta in the building. We got Tedrick. We got Brandy. We got Diamond Dave. Somebody said, listen, they just got Diamond Dave's course. It's on sale to November 30th, 25% off. You guys, I will share the links on the community wall. And if I had it right here, I'd post it right here, but I don't. I'm sorry. Atlanta Metro. They rather take half. They steal so many cars out here. It's very expensive to rent in Hartsville compared to airports. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I quit. I used to rent for so cheap, like $40 a day in Atlanta from Hertz. And now I'm like, oh, I'm not paying no $100 a day. Come on, that's what they want, to feel better than other people. So again, here, let me go ahead and show you this. This came out of Atlanta. Engineers at work were sitting at work and figured out, why can't we just create something to stop people? Okay, here we go. And I'm gonna get to the pirates in San Francisco as well. All right, this is called Keep Technologies. And again, these are engineers. They didn't come up with no fancy names. They should have, but they didn't. And so, they're just engineers who create. Like, what do you think about this? So it's in your cup holder. Let me pull this one. I guess I should do this one first.
All wrong. We live in a time where people leave their car windows and trunks open to deter burglars, and thieves face minimal consequences for stealing under $1,000. Prompting the question, who will challenge these criminals victimizing our society? With car theft and break-ins on the rise, the Keep car alarm is the answer you've been waiting for. So why choose Keep? Our device acts as a powerful deterrent against break-ins, warning potential thieves to stay away, keeping your vehicle safe and sound. And it pumps out a deafening 120 decibel alarm when an intruder dares to approach your vehicle, while our HD camera captures every detail and sends it directly to your phone. Installation is a breeze, taking less than 10 minutes. The Keep car alarm automatically arms and disarms, whether it detects your key fob or your connected mobile phone. With $7 million and 5 years of engineering behind it, Keep Connected Car Alarm is your best choice. It's time to take action and protect what's yours. Invest in Keep today and keep thieves away. You're going about car security all wrong.
Okay, did everybody see that? I hope that was very clear and loud. Did everybody see that? Put a yes if you couldn't see it. Everybody saw that. Now, why did these engineers that work in Atlanta come up with this? Why did they come up with this? Why did they come? Because they live in Atlanta where people are constantly breaking in cars. What is the next place that this is going to take off in? San Francisco. San Francisco. I don't know if y'all remember when you had Shark Tank and they like pitched Ring camera to Shark Tank. And Shark Tank were like, why would you guys need some ring? They couldn't understand why did poor people, let's just go there. Why did these peasants need a Ring camera at their door? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. They only make 50K a year. There's maybe a couple of them make 100K a year. Why would people buy this? And it was a moment of like wealthy people being absolutely tone deaf to the working person's problems, right? But let me tell you, I wish I would have been on Nas's team. Hey, y'all need a meal? I'll go find a million. We gonna put some money in this Ring camera because Nas done walked off with 40 or 50 million dollars or whatever when they sold it. Okay, so they were so out of touch they couldn't understand this. Same way with this car technology. There's gonna be a mom and pop in Midwest Indiana somewhere, in Wyoming. Like, why would I put this in my car, right? Because 1984 version Erica brain is like, why do we have Ring cameras and cameras in our car? Super surveillance state. I hate it. But that's 1980 version Erica. Okay, right? Let's leave your cell phone in the car, turn it off. Erica, put it in the black bag. But other side of me is we got 50% of Americans who are damn haters. So so instead of me going somewhere and leaving my car windows down and my window open to convince some teenager to a 35-year-old bum, because if you actually see these Ring cameras, these are grown adults in cars. Okay, they're not young black people. They're like bums. They're like 25 to 35 grabbing porches off packages, bums, right? And so this thing, oh God, I wish I could have invested in this. I'm so sick to my stomach I didn't, right? Because this thing, if it takes off like I think it's going to take off, you're going to talk about this Keep technology right here. And I'm just full disclaimer, I'm signing up to be one of their affiliates as we speak. Because I will make a whole reaction channel to car thieves and promote this thing. I would make a whole separate channel on YouTube and Instagram and just talk about and just do reaction videos to car thieves and be like, make sure you get a Keep Ring camera. And one of y'all might beat me to it, and I don't care. But there's plenty out here for us to eat. That's why I give just all this stuff away. Um, but this is something you have to realize when you see the photos of most of these people. They're grown adults. They're grown adults. They're not kids. Like, oh, maybe Erica's just a 15-year-old who broke into a car and he should know, but give him a break. Nah, if you still on that mindset, which there are adults who are like, well, people deserve a second chance. You breaking into hundreds of cars and parking lots, baby, nah, that's your life. You think that's your job. You think that's your job. Cut it out. Right? And so what you're going to see, like you see on these Ring cameras, you got a 30 to 35-year-old person who's made bad decisions in life. Instead of saying, I'm going to go out and do better and get my own house and get my own stuff they're like, I'm just going to take your stuff. I'm just going to take your stuff. That's all. I'm going to take your stuff. This is why I will go on my Ring camera and I will look up, and yes, one of my packages was stolen by like a Hispanic 12-year-old. But the other stuff that got touched was all adults. Adults. I'm like, what in the world? Again, this is why Texas made the porch piracy act. You hit up the 50 porches, they got you on 50 different Ring cameras. Baby, that's a felony. You going to jail for 5 years. Now you in jail trying to convince people who are actually in jail. Oh man, what you in jail for? Oh, stealing. How much what you steal? Packages. Packages. You work at UPS? No, I stole packages off porches. Man, if you don't get your ass out of here, like this is for real crimes. But now you in jail on a mandatory minimum 5 years because you're not productive, and the judge is gonna look at it. If people be like, "Well, judge, just give me another chance. I was down on my luck." Nah, baby, not in Texas. You couldn't find no job in Texas. Nah, you can walk around and pick up packages. You can walk around at Amazon. You can throw packages at Amazon. You're back that good, okay? But we have that issue. So this is something y'all gonna see. I mean, this gonna make money. If I don't tell y'all nothing like this,
Tired of car
money.
break-ins? Check out this device from Keep
Just
Technologies.
again, and these people just recklessly breaking into hundreds of like it's their job, y'all. I don't know what these company needs for promo, but I ought to see 100,000 people buy this thing off rip. Can't just it don't make sense. Again, look at this map. Look at that map. Does it work in your city? They showing you what cities it's already people already picked it up in. Baby, they look at that. Look at all that blue right here. California, blue out here, blue in Colorado, Denver. You know them bums at. Okay, parts of Texas, blue. Atlanta. Look how big that circle is for Atlanta. This is Georgia. It's a big circle for Atlanta. Okay, but look at all these circles. New York. People know what time it is. Come on.
What I love about our customers,
Right?
they actually.
So anyway, let me get off onto the next. Where is it at? And again, people are gonna be like, "Oh, you guys, they're taking pictures of people and putting it on the internet." They showed a Ring camera of like two 12-year-old boys, and this woman put on her like in her. She shared it. Oh my god! Pause this right here. Let me pause this. She was like, "Y'all come get your kids because I'm not playing with them." And the kids were clearly 12, but it's like in the middle of school day, and they trying to break into this woman's house. They just ringing, twisting the doorknob real hard, and I'm telling you, there's gonna be this spree of people getting shot. Unfortunately, it's gonna be these porch pirates, these kids that are breaking something. Don't do it. It's not the season for that, especially with these people still working home. Okay, let me show you San Francisco. Now, let's go ahead and set this up. This conversation. What type of people own a boat, right? Let's go there. It's not like, oh, they're rich and wealthy and then they just sit out on boats all day long. No. The average person that owns a boat is a working person, and so the docks and marinas know this, and so you'll have a huge space of RV boat parking. I tried to build an RV and boat storage space here in Austin. I couldn't get the land, but another spot I'm thinking of, I'm gonna try it, right? And it's a big deal because the HOAs don't want your boat parked in front of your house. The houses are sometimes built so close together. You're not parking your RV there. You're not parking your boat there. And on average, you're willing to pay a person who has a boat or RV is willing to pay about 100 to 150 at most 250 to park their precious boat and vehicle somewhere where they know it be safe. Now, where is it traditionally safe? The marina. Okay, the marina has security. If you ain't dressed a certain way, if you're not a worker, you usually don't go over there. They usually have a series of gates. Most marinas are like, "What are you doing over here? Who do you work for?" You ain't got no polo on. Where you going, sir? Where you work for? Who you dealing with out here? And that's why I like marinas. Not gonna lie to you. But with the increase of so many people buying boats in this past kind of expansion, which is we've had 171 months of expansion here at this point, 172 I think, but 171, you had all kind of people buying boats. I remember in 2008, in the crisis, 2009, they were people drilling holes in boats in South Carolina, off the coast of South Carolina, North Carolina, to do what? To get the income check, to get the check, the insurance check, off of sinking their own boat, essentially. And the Coast Guard literally started telling people, listen, you ain't got to sink the boat, baby. Just give us a call. We'll tow the boat away. Anything but don't sink the boat, right? Okay. So you found this article anywhere, MSNBC, all kind of places. Pirates are wreaking havoc in San Francisco Bay. Local citizens are outraged over the nautical crime spree. Now, what's crazy is some dudes were in like little paddle boats. They were in little dinghies. They were really just walking on these boats. And let's just go there. People are going to leave an X amount of items on a boat because they don't want to what? I mean, let's go there. I don't know if you've ever seen Jack Reacher. I don't know if you've ever seen some of these shows. People leave enough information on a boat. Like if something break out, I'm gonna jump on this boat and peel out. Why is that? Let's just go there for a second. Down the rabbit hole for a second. It's gonna be hard for the Coast Guard to catch you. If you commit any time of financial crime or other crimes, they're gonna catch you at the airport. They're gonna catch you. But if you got enough gas and you get to your boat, they're not catching you. They're not catching you. And I'm just going to go there for a second. They're not catching you. Okay. They're not catching you. All right. So y'all take that information what you will. Erica's not advocating for you to leave the country or flee the country at any moment, but it is something about a boat. If you can get to your boat and you got gas and you got a passport, you can zoom out. Okay. I'll just leave it there. And a lot of blogs and articles talk a lot about this. A lot of books talk about this. So long story short, what they're doing is they're coming home to their yachts, their houseboats, and their other watercraft, and it's being stolen. They're stealing the boats. They're ransacking the boats in the past months. They've been doing so crazy. The crime is kind of rampant. Why? What happens is you have a test. Okay. What ends up happening is, for example, in Detroit, if somebody kicks your door, like they kick it really hard to see if it'll break, and then they leave. They don't come in. They don't steal anything. They just kick it real hard and leave. There's somebody in a car around the corner watching to see how long is your neighbor's going to do anything. Does the neighbor next door come out of the house and go to the house next door? Does an alarm system come off? Does anybody drive by the house, right? Because if it's got ring cameras, maybe a person's close, right? Does anybody come out and do anything? If not, baby, they coming back the next day. They coming back the next day because they've already scoped that house. They do that. Like literally these criminals do this as a job. Like again, the Cadillac converters, the Asian gang that had the Cadillac converters, they had over like 7,000 converters in a warehouse organized. These weren't petty criminals. This ain't like, oh, somebody stole my Cadillac converter, they're a crackhead. Now they may have used some crackheads to get the Cadillac converters, but the Asians running the warehouse, they had them 7,000 Cadillac converters organized, labeled. They had a whole system. Okay. So what's happened here with these boats is people went out to the marina, did a little bit of robbing. Nothing happened. Police didn't catch them. Security on the marina is probably very lean right now. I don't know why. Nobody stopped them. So then they did what? They kept coming back, right? This is with any type of crime. The same thing happened in Atlanta. Okay. This is the same thing happening in San Francisco. When you don't stop the crime, when you don't have a massive collecting people, like even I saw a car getting broken, a police officer was right there in front of him. He turns on his lights. The person looks at him, gets in the car and drives around the police officer. So they done broke into a whole vehicle, still in a whole suitcase, got in the car and drove around. The police officer didn't do anything. Now they're getting told from somewhere up above, hey, A, B, and C, right? Because San Francisco and California is also the same, Los Angeles, where the trains, they were loading up trains with goods, right? And I think this is somewhat of an insurance fraud with these big companies. But remember, the boats were backed up. The boats were so backed up with cargo and and trucks weren't going into California because of the boycott and because of the rules and the regulations. So they were loading trains up. Well, guess what? They saw videos. Hundreds of Hispanic people going to the trains, opening the train car doors, stealing packages, stealing things. They didn't even know what they were stealing cargo. Right? Because no one was actively patrolling the trains. So these are all things that people do. They go, well, nobody stopped me, so I'm gonna keep going, right? These people treat this like their job because they're haters. Instead of being productive, instead of buying it right out, that I'm just gonna do it. There's no such thing as a victimless crime, by the way. But even though I used to be independent and I used to be big on libertarian, I'd be like, there's victimless, if they want to buy drugs, let them buy drugs. If they want to do this, let them do it. Now as an adult, a little bit older, I'm like, No, if they want to buy prostitutes and drugs, it does create other societal problems. It's not a total victimless crime. I don't think we should just arrest the hookers, but that's another conversation. All right, so again, the former harbor master, Brock de la Paz, with again, he has a French name, he attended a San Francisco Bay Conservation and Development Commission enforcement meeting and revealed the modern day pirates have set up shop in the San Francisco Bay and they have begun wreaking havoc on the houseboats. Houseboats are where most people like live on the boat and they just go to work in town. So they park at the marina parking and they actually go to work in town, but they live on the houseboat. Other watercraft and yachts. He claims they start to climb aboard, pillage and plunder everything in sight. He says some of them are stealing entire boats and doing extensive damage to them before abandoning them or allowing them to drift at sea. So terrible. Boat owners push back. They say, listen, boat owners who keep their vessels docked near the Oakland, okay, you already know, Oakland Alameda story, have tried to fight back against pirates, but he said that crime has risen truly to intolerable levels in the area, which has made it almost impossible to do things like keep up the boats with all the illegal activity. It's so horrible. He also pointed out the police have been slow to respond to calls to help. Multiple vessels have been stolen and ransacked. He said victims have had to resort to personally converting. Listen, this is, I'm going to laugh, but I got to stop. Victims have had to resort to personally confronting the criminals to recover their property without the benefit of police report. Is this an appropriate activity for a 79-year-old senior? What they're saying is I make too much money to deal with these thugs. Where are the police? I shouldn't have to even talk to these people. These people are beneath me. Anyways, De La Pelle isn't the only person whose logic complained about the police reacting to the pirates. Several sailing centers have complained. And they said there's about $35,000 being destroyed or stolen so frequently. They said that the police haven't even offered up a solution. We can't even run our program without these boats. Okay. Who are these modern day pirates? Okay, because we're going to get to two questions that are very important. While Joshua refused to add any fuel to the fire as he discussed the complaints that many boat owners have started to file, he admitted the local police aren't sure yet of who's responsible for the crimes. They said, listen, the pirates are usually the homeless living in the camps in Oakland, which, you know, California, they love their homeless. Okay. One report suggested is the influx of small boats have appeared near the homeless camp at Union Park Station section of the city. Again, there's a photo here. I don't have it, but it's a photo of literally like a little old wood, like somebody's just whoop, with their hands. I mean, I'm talking about San Francisco Bay, like working it with their hands, rowing over to these areas. It's crazy. You got to be real determined. Now, first questions first. Where the Coast Guard? Okay. If those committing crimes in the Oakland Alameda estuary do end up hailing from Oakland, the Oakland police said they will come out and it could be difficult to stop them. One ODP police said the police officer who has been trained to use the department boats. Now, they only have one police officer. Now, y'all know what the bay look like, right? It's water everywhere. San Fran, Oakland, all this is water. It's marinas everywhere up in the bay. Like where they can fit them in them rough rock areas is it's a port area. If you go back in time, they was fishing and doing all kind of stuff out there. Okay, so you got boats everywhere. So for you to tell me Oakland Police Department only has one police officer who's been trained to use the department boat, they just told you they don't care. Because where I'm at in Austin, they have a department of 62 guys who are on the gang task unit, which the only gang we really got in Austin is MS-13. We ain't got no other gangs. Every year, these white parents try to make like we got all these gangs in Austin. We don't. It's only the cartel. So when they cut 15 people from the gang unit, they're like, oh my God, the crime. The gang unit needs every person on board for these gangs. We don't have no real gangs. Okay, we have MS-13. And if you want to battle the cartel, go do what you got to do. But for them to tell you they got one police officer trained to run a boat, you telling me a whole department, nobody has wanted. I'll sign up. I'll get in a boat. I'll ride around on the water all day for my 8 to 10 hour shift. I'll BS and be on my cell phone on the water all day. You got one guy. Oakland don't care about that. Oakland already told you what's up. We don't care. We don't care. So, but fortunately for boat owners, the Coast Guard has recently called in to help to keep an eye on the situation. So you telling me the Coast Guard that we always raising money for, the Coast Guard that's supposed to be stopping drugs and crime, the Coast Guard ain't been driving around the coast with their boats looking for crime? This is a problem. This is a problem, y'all. This is what's your point of here having a Coast Guard? Lord Jesus. Okay, let me stop. I hope y'all enjoyed my British rendering of the news. I quite enjoy doing that. Okay, let me go back to the comment section here. Okay. Let's go up here to your comments. I want you to understand I appreciate every comment the channel gets. Okay. There's 187 people here for lunch. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button. Okay. All right. Brandy said, did everyone travel back home and get stuffed? I did not, Brandy. I broke one of my teeth and I will be going to the dentist when I go back. Your girl was partying too hard and broke a tooth. How did you know I was going to do a clip on this? Mark Daily, because I have to. Someone has to fight the crime out here. It's unfortunate. Manna tomorrow. Comparing a group of CEOs versus a group of employees is their thought process. Are we doing the same job? I have questions. Yes, they usually are. They're too busy worried about what the next person's doing. Yes, this is correct. Women's. What are the women's doing? Why are you as a man worried about what women are doing when you're a man? There are plenty of men to compare yourself to that are out in the world doing man things. And me as a woman, I go, am I dressing feminine enough? Am I wearing a particular type of clothes? Am I a dude? Am I wearing enough makeup? Possibly. That's usually my thought process. I'm not really particularly worried about what a man is doing. He should be doing what he's doing because he's a man. You get what I'm saying? I have 20 boy cousins. I don't tell them what to do as men. If they have a financial question, I answer, but I don't tell dudes what to do that are doing man things. Okay. Let's go. I hired dudes from $800 a week to $2,500. They were more concerned about my company profit in the millions rather than they got paid 35% more than any driver in the area. Man of tomorrow. Where my truck is at, the company tried to hire a guy. He's like, oh, I'm gonna start my own thing. Even though the company offered him $1,500 a week, nonstop, regardless. He has a very simple route. It's a contract we have. You just going back and forth to this place. That's it. You ain't doing nothing else. That's it. Simple. He didn't want it. He's like, I'm gonna start my own company. Sir, you want to start a trucking company in the environment where yellow trucking lost. And again, this is where it's fishy business. This is where our government's doing fishy business. Yellow trucking went down. Then also you had the company that went down. I think yellow trucking was in Kansas. And then they showed the data records the next week in Kansas and said that the unemployment went down. How, when you had 30,000 people lose their job? Like, are you thinking Americans smoke crack? If you were to tell me, no, the unemployment numbers are just delayed. No, they're a lie. You've lied. This is why Trump won the first time. And I don't want to go too political, but this is why Trump won the first time. Is because he was like, dude, unemployment is like 20%. Cost of living is crazy. This is out of control. People are like, look at him telling the truth. People can walk around their daily life and see people who are home all day unemployed. We can see it, or underemployed, right? Why are ATMs increasing, right? Our society's doing this thing where they're going, everybody use debit cards, everybody use credit cards. But we're increasing the number of ATMs everywhere. Why? Because you have a segment of our population is just like 54% are underbanked, white, black, Hispanic. They're running to the payday center place. Like right now, when somebody asks me, Erica, why would you own a gas station in this economy? I go, I wouldn't even care about owning the gas station because you only make a couple pennies on the dollar on the gas. Government's very much regulating that. You make all your money on the crap inside the store, 7-Eleven, and you make your money cashing checks for people. If you actually go to some of these Indian and listen, if you go look up the numbers of the bodegas in New York that cash people checks, those people were getting $500,000 in PPP money and then an additional $500,000 in EIDL money. They had corner stores getting $2 to $3 million. They had people getting crazy money because they cash checks. They cash in checks. That's why you sitting here laughing. They stuck in the store all day. Ha ha ha. Baby, they cash in checks and charging you $7 to $50 per check. So imagine they do that for thousands of people that you can laugh all day you want. You can laugh all day and night. They don't care. They're looking at y'all goofy coming in their store. So yeah, this is man tomorrow. That's the pain thing. These drivers, every driver you ever meet is like, I'm gonna own my own company. Baby, you've been driving for 18 years. If you ain't owned it yet, you ain't gonna do it. If you ain't bought your own truck after 18 years of driving, you ain't gonna do it. 9 times out of 10, when you really get down and you talk to these drivers about buying trucks and owning their own business, they start hearing the math and they got to pay for insurance and they got to be liable for stuff and they got to be responsible. All of that talk go out the window. Get out of my face with that shit. I already know. Proximity matters. If I were in a small hometown, I know at least 2 girls from high school who have 6 to 7 children, no active father in sight. But because I spend in my horizon, my demographic is larger. That's what I'm telling you. There's only 312 cities. And what do I call cities? If you look at the numbers that are over 100,000 people in America. So you have 312 cities that are over 100,000 in America. So the average person, if they're not like when people say, I live in Atlanta, but then you actually talk to them, they don't live in Atlanta. They live an hour away from Atlanta, right? You start talking to people, oh, I live in Charlotte, but then they really live in South Carolina somewhere in the middle of nowhere, off a side road, dirt road in a trailer. You start really talking to people. The average person doesn't live in a major city. They live close to the major city, but not in the major city, right? And you had a kind of return to the rural areas, to getting further out, and you have this kind of homesteading, modern farmhouse theme going, right? There was a girl who posted a thing. She lives right outside of Nashville, 30 minutes, if that. And she lives on a big old swatch of land. And people are like, I don't know if I can live in the country. Ah. And she's like, y'all, I live 30 minutes outside of Nashville. They're like, what? The average person doesn't live that far from a city, but they live in a smaller town. So when they tell you these sob stories, you're like, where do you live? And then they start dodging. Whomever said, I know their life in a sham. Listen. Yeah. I mean, when you're angry at life, when you're upset at life, you meant sham. Okay. I know their life is in a sham. Back when my life was jacked up, I would say dumb stuff like that about YouTubers too. Yeah. Yeah. When you upset, when you mad with life. I used to have workers walk up to me when I was talking to a customer to see how much I'm charging the customer. I had to nip that stuff in the butt. That's crazy. They was being nosy, Jody. That's why people can't get ahead, too worried about things that don't concern them, or the very least shouldn't. It shouldn't. When I start talking to people about, I remember I used to talk a lot about investing in Lending Club. I talked about it for 7 years on this channel, right? Until Lending Club sold to a bank. And I remember people kept coming back, well, what's your results on Lending Club? Motherfucker, why are you worried about my results on Lending Club? It's $20 to invest in a note. You could have been invested $25, saw the results for a year, made your own conclusion, and moved on with your life. Instead of coming back to my channel year after year after year, asking me, well, can we see how what your results were? Because I had 600 notes on Lending Club. If anybody is new to this channel, you weren't here in the back in the olden days when I was delivering pizzas and I was working at a property manager, and before I started the painting company, I started just throwing money. It was like $25 a note. Cool, I can do that. I bought a bunch of E, F, and D loans. I bought a ton of them, and for a while, my returns on my portfolio were like 23%. I think they got as high as like 36%. I think I have a screenshot somewhere that shows that. But when I would talk to people, they'd be like, well, can you keep showing us your portfolio? Can you keep showing us your portfolio? Baby, you could have took $25 out your pocket, picked a note, and had a result in a year and decided, okay, did I win or did I lose? But that's how much people are haters. They rather just, let me just watch what you're doing. I've created more and made more in the past 7 years than most people I know. And the funny part is, well, I wouldn't have did that. I wouldn't have started a trucking company if I was Erica. I wouldn't have invested in Detroit. I wouldn't have invested in Cleveland. And yet here we are 5 years later, tenant still paying in Cleveland. Section 8 still paying me in Cleveland. Here we are 5 years later, finally turning some of these buildings around. 4 years later, really 3 years for some of them. Now we're gonna get 20 grand a month, 20 grand a year off some of these properties because we're finally turning them around. But if you'd have listened to some of these people, I wouldn't do what you did because you got it's a hater. It's all hater. It's no skin in the game. It's no investment. It's just all hating. It's sad. You should learn regardless. These folks ain't gonna try to learn Spanish. They won't even do a free course on LinkedIn. Man, I'm telling you, you gotta see some of the comments in some of these Facebook groups I'm in. They be like, well, are other people doing that? That's the first thing people say. Well, are other people having to go do certifications to get these jobs? Baby, you don't know their life. You don't know who they know at that company. You need to improve yourself to the highest of your ability. Because most people are trying to say, well, Erica, where's the free courses to improve in tech? You think you're going to go into a job, no college degree, no certifications, just because you think you got curly hair and look good and you're going to slide in the door? Man, you better get your ass out of here. Like, y'all better get out of here. But that's how you know somebody's a hater. They're esteeming themselves so high that they think, well, if that person didn't have to do it, I shouldn't have to. When you don't know that person, like, that's why I tell people go on LinkedIn. That's why most people avoid LinkedIn, because they'll go look on somebody's page and see somebody's been working 7 corporate jobs since they were 20. But yet you think you need to make 200K. Man, you better get out of here. You better get all the way out of here. There's a street called Belfort, and it looks like Little Mexico over there. Them dirty guys standing around all day. All businesses are Hispanic. I mean, you got a lot of African business owners in Houston. You got a lot of Vietnamese, Korean, Nigerian. They out there. Them Nigerians is going to tear Houston up in about 10 years. Y'all going to be like, damn, they own everything. Give them a minute. Same thing with them Indians. Probably 50% of every country. Yeah. It made them more entitled. Instead of them saying, dang, how can I make 1,500 a year? What job can I go get to make me 1,500 a week? That should have been the mindset of most people once they came out that PPP money. Man, let's get to it. How do we get to it? $19.99 sticker. Boom. Thank you so much, LB. We went over that earlier. Let me scroll down. Who else did I miss? There you go. I'm in the DMV and they went up on car insurance because of all the break-ins. Yeah. Charlotte is the same on a smaller level as hell renting a car there last week. I believe it. Bad with the break-ins. Okay, Kimberly, we've answered this like 10 shows in a row. This is how y'all know your girl need a break. But okay, here we go. Will there be a housing crash? Kimberly Pat, do you think there'll be a housing crash? Like, let's take a screenshot. I'm gonna take this, and Victor's gonna Victor or Peter's gonna chop this. Hi, I'm Erica Williams, and no, there will not be a housing crash. Why will there not be a housing crash? Because 40% of all homes have no mortgage in America. Another 24% of homes in America have an under 2% mortgage rate. Then another 20% have under 4% mortgage rates. The average person, regardless of what's going on in the economy, will not give up their home, because 9 times out of 10, if they purchase their home in 2017 to 2021, their mortgage is cheaper than you renting. They're paying $1,000 to $1,800 on a mortgage, or at most, some of them $2,000 to $3,000 on a mortgage. But where would they get a comparable 4-bedroom house, 3-bathroom? Or where were they getting a comparable 3-bedroom, 2-bath house? They're not going to get a comparable in the marketplace that they even rent for as cheap as they own currently. There is no housing crash. There is no housing mortgage. Even if someone loses their job, they have 3 years before the foreclosure process can be documented. If you spend your time listening to YouTubers tell you financial advice without the parameters, I feel really sorry for you, because here's the truth. It'll take 3 years for foreclosure to go through. The government forbearance for most things, FHA, housing, evictions, just was lifted November 1st of this year. That means most of those people have already started paying back again, or it'll take 3 years from that date before they get out. So what does that mean? 3 years from November 2023 is 2026. So if you're going to sit on the sidelines and not be ready and not jump in, continue to do so. Just continue to rent the best, cheapest house that you can for you, because there really won't be a housing crash. I know folks have been pumping this to you for months and years. The only people who will be selling their house for cheap, go check out most of your famous wholesalers. Most of your wholesalers aren't wholesaling right now. If they get a deal, it's because it's a hoarder house, it's a fire damaged house, it's a house that has sewage problems, it's a extreme horrible zombie house, it's a house that's been abandoned for 20 years, it's out in the middle of nowhere. They're not getting top notch houses. So, no. Will there be a housing crash? No. And no matter how popular your favorite YouTuber is saying this, it's just not true. And it's unfortunate because the data is all there for you to understand this isn't happening. So I'm sorry. Hope this helps. Sugar Erica, Classy Clown Blog. I'm going to make that an ad. I'm going to make that an ad. I'm going to run that on YouTube because y'all have asked me that way too many times. Stop listening to fake news. Been telling people America's built on producing haters. Pretty much. I mean, if you really think about it, America really was produced on haters. How did Tulsa burn? White people next town were broken jealous that the black people were so wealthy in that town. But people keep forgetting out of slavery who had all the skills to build everything. Black people. That's who had it. That's who had the skill. Who had the skills to navigate the lands and hunt certain meats? Native people. So all the people who were in America who had real skills, they were black or native, could build everything. Who built the White House? The slaves. Now, did Germans and Irish and Italians in the later years of the 1900s come up to New York and climb on ladders and scaffolds? But if you go back and look, it's a lot of pictures of blacks up there. It's a lot of pictures of American Indian. Was it not the Comanches? Because that's Texas. It was the not Apaches. Who's up there up north? Dang it, I forgot their name. But they up there, and they are in almost every photo. They would put them in little teams. So, if I conclude one thing, Erica's going to get paid. If you don't conclude nothing else, shit. Captain Hook out here stealing packages. Man, there's too many jobs in Texas. Listen, every week I had that robot on Octopi. It started applying for the wrong things. I had to go adjust it. And I mean, I had like 50 companies calling me, hey, we got a sales company. I'm like, no, I don't want that. No, student defaults. I mean, at the end of the door. So here's the numbers. The government has already done the math on student defaults. If 38% of people pay the student loans, it won't default. It won't cause a crisis. Everybody's looking for it, but it really won't, because the average student loan is like $338 a month. There's some people with $500 for sure, but the average person is $300 a month. Your millennials are 28 to 41 years old right now. Somebody 35 to 41 ain't messing up their credit for some student loan. They ain't doing it. They like, okay, here's some money. Here's a little bit of something. Shut up. Don't mess up my credit. Excuse me. Apologize. Dang. My first place in the hood, neighbor had a boat. Looked so tacky on the street. It looked tacky. It looked crazy. It looked out of place. I mean, you'll hear it. People gonna be like, free my cousin. All he did was steal packages. Nah, baby. You got to get out of here. Very organized. I mean, Diamond Dave, if you actually read the articles, I mean, when they get there, like, they don't even try to run. Like, they like, all right, y'all got us. Y'all got us. You got us. Okay. They found a bunch of Cadillac conversions in a house in Houston. Every room full. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's going down up in Chicago. I think those immigrants are contributing to the crime spree. Oh, for sure. If you guys actually go look, and this is not to be morbid, but if you actually go look at the deaths in Chicago in certain years, 2016, 2017, you actually had a higher number of Latinos that were dying. And that's not, the news ain't gonna tell you all that, right? Because you'd got to do the math. Like, where are all these Latinos dropping? Cartel. It's a vein. Right? Or you had some Ukrainians dying up there. And that was Ukrainian Russian. That won't have nothing to do with us black people or Latino people. Okay. That's a whole nother. We ain't going that way for the Conroe donation, but y'all can go look it up. Oh, yeah. Listen, them neighbors walking with dogs. Yeah. Very suspicious. And as they walk their dog, they're seeing if their dog barks or you have a dog in your yard that barks. Trust. I live in California, San Diego. Yes, they stealing left and right. Come on, it's crazy. People out here being Robin Hood, taking Cadillac. It's crazy, man. What people forget about the Somali pirates is the Japanese overfished their waters, and the Somalian country did not have accurate enough Coast Guard or Navy type people to fight. So their people jumped in boats. I mean, we look back at it and laugh now, but really the Somalis did what they had to do. The Africans can say what they want about them. They end up paying Somali, the country, like $35 million. They're like, hey, chill out here, take some money. And really, it's our fault on top of that, because 3 years before that, when Western Union couldn't get into Somalia, like they tried to use the UN, they tried to use the government, they tried to use the United States, like arm twist these people to take Western Union in their country. They were like, nah, we ain't doing it. Well, George Bush just signed off like, hey, I forgot the name of it, but it's their type of Western Union they had in Somalia. George Bush, with a stroke of a pen, said, oh, that's terrorism. That's a terrorist organization. We can't let you use that money. We can't let you basically send money via that organization anymore. And it was nothing but their country's version of Western Union. And that's because Western Union lobbied enough all the way up to the government. And that within 3 years caused such a financial breakdown in Somalia, because people who were sending $100 to $500 home a week, which was millions of Somalians in America, all of a sudden that money stopped. Then you got people going, well, let's just get back to fishing some more. Oh, well, now the Japanese huge boats are overfishing your water, so you can't even get the fish. So then you resort to like, hey, we're going to get on these boats and beat these Japanese people up. And so when you really walk it back that way, because the average American is not going to do that. The average American will be like, shame on those Somalis. Shame on them being pirates. But the average American is not even going to take 5 minutes to go, okay, why are they doing that? The Japanese are overfishing. Like, you can look this up on Wikipedia. And the Japanese government's like, oh, we sorry. They ain't sorry, right? So they're overfishing, okay? And then America canceled their Western Union 3 years ago, 3 years before that even happened. So you put people in a dire straits conversation. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. No one really studies. No one really reads. So you can play this whole shame on Somalia, and nobody really does it. The people doing the surveys, honestly, they do them in different work settings. They do them all kind of places. Damn. Yeah, police be lazy like that. More British, please. I know it's a terrible British accent. I know it's terrible, but that's the whole point. It's a terrible British accent, but I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I'm enjoying it for myself. I remember I had a friend. He did a fake British accent in a British music band. Came on stage and was doing the meet and greet, and he gave him his fake British accent. They were like, "Oh, do we detect the fake British accent?" And he felt so bad for the rest of the day. We were all like, "It's okay, man. Like they were joking you. It's okay. Your voice isn't bad." They always fudge these numbers. Bucky sell everything. Everything. So many cash checking spaces. I'm like, baby, you paying $50? You could go to a bank. Well, they would want to keep some of my check. That's right. People just got Cash App on their phone because they burning up these banks. Come on, man. I remember those days I was underbanked. I would go cash a $50 weekly check and they were charging $50 to cash it. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. All facts. My favorite AE account executive put me on her side hustle, getting convenience stores and other stores to run their CC machines with us. Yeah, they make hella money. Hella money. Ton of money. That's why that whole processing stuff and the ATM business, there's a reason. Unemployment stats always stop asking people after 120 days, no matter who's the president. I thought this was common knowledge. No. So, K Diggity, I get what you're saying. That part we already know. I'm talking about the fact that Yellow Trucking laid off 30,000 people, closed the whole company in this hometown of Kansas. The next week, like the same time where all these people be flying for employment, the next week they said unemployment actually went down in the city. right? Instead of the true number, which would be half your town is unemployed, because half the drivers are from other places, but half the town works in the dispatching, the warehouse, the cleaning, the everything around with the trucks. So that was a clear K Diggity. This isn't about, oh, they're fudging numbers that way. This is a clear, we just had 30,000 people in a home-based town of a trucking company go get laid off. And they lie on the unemployment numbers the very next week. I don't know who told them to do that, but they did that because that just is mathematically not possible. And everybody kept saying, it's crazy. Like, that's not mathematically possible. You had at least 15,000 of the workers come from that local town. The other half were from all over the country, but they're just drivers, but the other half were in the town. So switching to ACH and certified phone only because of riot with my property management. Come on, man. Come on. I had an employee who used to ask to borrow money but didn't want to work. They try to get away with things when they know you're a small business. And like, honey, people, when I had the trucking company ask for an advance, I'm like, an advance? Man, if you don't get off this phone. And so I asked other people, I said, is y'all doing that? They're like, this is what you have to do. You have to charge them 25% interest on the money, because then they won't ask again. They'll pay it back and they won't ask it again. I said, oh, damn. Them folks on my government job had 2 to 3 vacations with COVID. I found things to do. Come on, man. Come on. That's what I'm saying. Your example of lending club resonates very well. I've been crushing it with ground floor for 3 years now. Yeah, ground floor has been great to me. I started with the amount of a Chick-fil-A meal monthly. Invest 5x that amount now. Yes. And that's why when people keep asking me these questions when they've been here for years, I'm like, nah, you ain't serious. Because $25 ain't shit. I could go. Let's say, Erica, I'm in a bad time. I could go Uber all day, make $100, take $25 out of that, and invest it in what I was so concerned about investing with, and move on with my life. That just is what it is. But even this, the thing, Miss Jill, the rates are so low on most of these homes that, let's say they go, my mortgage is $1,400. Like, I know a girl right now, her mortgage is $1,400. She could leave, go back to where her parents are near Houston, rent her house out in Austin for $2,600. What would she be losing? She'd be making an extra $1,100 on top of the regular mortgage. That's where a lot of them are. The mortgage is so low because of the rate. Even if they said, like, a lot of them, like a lot of people I think are last minute Nellies and tried to sell out of Austin. And so you bought a house for $180. Some of them bought them for $250. That was the average going price in Austin, March 2020. By November 2020, the average house was $496. So even if you sold last year, you walking off with $200K, most of them. So yeah, they're not crashing. There ain't no way. Right? It's crash bros. Yeah, that's what we call them. They're crash bros. Doom and gloom, man. Crash will crash every day, man. It's gonna crash. It's like, nah, man. It's for clickbait. It's very clickbait. Same with Wilmington. Yeah, man, Wilmington's crazy. They were sinking them boats. Yep, Wilmington Fire, 1898. They were so jealous. Black people own 12 out of 15 restaurants in town, and all their workers worked inside. And then they actually own 13 of the 15. It was like two white restaurants in town, right? And then everything. I mean, you had white women sleeping with black men in Wilmington. It was like, oh my God, Wilmington's crazy, right? So this, there was this how bad it was, right? There was a guy, they accused him of white women. They tried to get a mob out to get him. All the black people came outside with guns, and they were like, oh, we ain't gonna do that here. So then they left. Couldn't do it. Well, then a guy got too bold. And to this day, if you go to where his house is, there's nothing built on his land. And it's to send a signal out, like, forever, as long as this is here, it'll be nothing built on it. He had a whole house, and on top of the house, he had a business, a newspaper business. And he wrote a newsletter And if you see, he said, basically told him like this, I'm paraphrasing. If you got white women sleeping with black men, it's because they want to, because we the richest in town, we the best in town, etc., etc. And he printed it, and it literally, I hate to say it, it caused them to push like hundreds of people, like kill them and throw them in the river in Wilmington. Like the color of the water was blood. That's how many people they killed in Wilmington. It was so bad. And so after it was over, and like they burned his whole little news house and news place down. That piece of land, I could drive y'all to it today. It's still empty. Like they built houses on the left and the right, but that piece of land is empty. And he disappeared in the night, supposedly. Like they didn't get to kill him. He ran off in time. But like to this day, that piece of land, there's not they make sure it's like dirt mud. It looks like just dirt mud. And hundreds of years, 100 years later, it's dirt mud, right? And to this day, the Wilmington never really, like everywhere else in North Carolina, like boomed and like robust and beautiful and built up. But half of all the workers that built everything, which were the black people, left Wilmington. So when you do that, and now you don't have nobody to rebuild it. Now, if you talk to white guys, it looks good. Wilmington looks good. It only looks good 100 years later because we built a college there. We like start pouring the state actually start pouring money into it to kind of recover it. It's always looked dumpy ever since that happened. So yeah, Mohawks. Yeah, they were the Skywalkers because they didn't have all the ropes and everything. It was crazy. It was crazy. I think a person a day was dying in New York building all those skyscrapers. It was crazy. Like 1 to 2 people a day or something. Yeah, America was built on hate. Man, I done spent 6 years plus giving. I'm done with it. I'm done. Overly done. They started it, but the election was a tipping point for sure. For sure. But totally agree, Financial Rebel. We got to do a show again. Where you been? Um, Wilmington is a slow city to get back what they had. I'm telling you. To this day, I'll meet people and their grandparents owned the house since 1910. And you could just feel it. It's crazy. It's real weird. That's why when I was talking about buying beach houses near those areas, they were like, "You're buying a beach house down there with them white people." I was like, y'all spend all y'all money going to the beach. Cut it out. Joseph Majors, you actually you can actually go look at the documentary 1898, but it's actually on the tours. Like if somebody gives you a tour, they'll tour the spot. That's why I said I purposely believe the town, whoever owns the land, is purposely never building anything on the land. Like purposely, like I'm gonna show y'all. You know what I'm saying? Racism is where you cut your nose off to spite your face, for sure. That's what it is. Do you think people simply reporting all the bad news daily like J Babe is productive? I seen him has a cult like following. No knock to him. I know he's found his lane. Listen, YouTube is funny business with the algorithm. Like I've every day I've gained 100 subscribers for like over 2 years now, and the number hasn't moved. It keeps saying 65.9, or then some days it'll be 69.8. So I know there's some funny business in it, but I'm not certain how to pinpoint or how to do anything about it. Now there's some people who are popping up to 100K subscribers and getting the silver play button, and it could be a combination of watch time. It could be a combination of look how many people are clicking on this thumbnail, and we've gone over that in the YouTube class. But at the end of the day, YouTube is going to support the effery. It's just it's going to support, like anybody who has like a real business on YouTube, they want you to spend money because they already know everybody else is going to come on and do the goofy stuff for free. But if you got a real business and you're sending traffic off the platform, which is something I do heavily, you're going to have to pay money. So that just is what it is. So that's where we are in this season of our life. We're straight up ads. We're running like 6 different ads on Facebook right now. So and then I got to record some more anyway when I get home and record some while I'm here in North Carolina. Just be like, just toss them up there. You're paying like $5 a day. Then you're retargeting for $1 a day. It's not that bad. So that's a whole conversation. But if you're in my digital real estate class, you'll hear it. Oh, for sure. For sure. Right now I've been watching Cure Beach, Nag's Head, and a few other places for years, so long. And between the land and the crunch in the marketplace, there is a spot that we have now that is just like walking distance. And I fully plan on owning several units out there because our family's given. I'm telling y'all like this. We rent 20, 25 bedroom houses with 20 bathrooms for like 20 grand for a week. And I'll be telling my family, do y'all understand how much money we're giving to other people? And so we've had that conversation enough now that people are like, yeah, I get it. So we're all kind of investing now. But anyway, because people going in North Carolina, they're gonna beach. They're gonna get to the beach. Some way, somehow they're gonna get to the beach. It's a way of life. Just like Florida, folks, they're gonna get to the beach. So I know you guys have to get back to work. I know you guys have full days, but this is your girl Erica from the Classic Climb blog. This is a part of your Liberty tour. You'll start seeing even more production and promotion. Again, our first date is February 3rd and 4th in Plano, Texas. Our next date is March 2nd and 3rd in Las Vegas. That's Circa, old style town part of Vegas. Then our April date is a surprise in Texas. We haven't released it yet. May 4th and 5th is in Atlanta, Georgia. And trust me, on Cinco de Mayo, I will be wearing a sombrero. I might wear a whole mariachi outfit. Y'all don't know. Your girl might really cut up on that one because Atlanta's going to be fun. It's got a really long, great cast of folks coming in. Then in June, we'll be in Cabo, Mexico. 8th and 9th, beautiful house, beautiful mansion. And then we'll also, right on the water, right on the beach, walk to the beach, watch the water. And then we'll also have a 130-foot yacht in Cabo. And then we'll be doing Banff, Canada. And we'll write a book. Like, we're going to do all our education stuff. We're going to set up our Facebook ads, do all this stuff. Then we're going to hop on a bus and catch out a glacier and check out some of the Lake Louise and some other stuff out there. So this is your girl Erica from the Classic Climb blog. Good luck, you guys. Watch out for the haters out there. Be safe.